What's going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Howard Bender. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NFL DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Week 16 NFL DFS main slate, which Howard is on a Saturday here. 10 games on a Saturday, Christmas Eve. NFL giving us a 3-game Sunday slate, which of course you'll have some content out for, but 10 games, Saturday, main slate. Saturday football continues to be part of our lives here.
Saturday football does continue to be part of our lives. Listen, I mean, I don't hate the Saturday football games. I just, obviously the Christmas Eve and the Christmas Day situation really kind of throws you for a loop because they've got the 3-game slate is on Sunday and the 10-game slate is on Saturday. So it ups our timeline a little bit more. I got that playbook out this morning. I was like, morning playbook on a Friday with all the other nonsense that I have to deal with at work. Come on.
Right, for sure. It just moves the timelines up. But it's fine. I don't mind waking up, getting Christmas Eve, having some family Christmas parties that I got to go to, and having some football on to watch the games. You, of course, as we're recording this now on a Friday afternoon, you already have the playbook out. Usually we record before your playbook is out, and we kind of, in your write-up, sometimes you allude to the podcast that you and I... things that we discuss, things that we debate, but that's already out for people. So read the playbook, then come listen to the podcast, get some additional insights and takes on players that are going to be in and out of our lineups this weekend. So let's
no doubt, and keep in mind also that I put a little line there at the bottom of the playbook write up. Be on the lookout for late changes to that playbook. There's still I usually, when I do it on Saturday morning, I have all the week's injury news. We still have an entire Friday slate of practices to look at. So in addition to you and I talking through it here, I'm still waiting on all that injury news to come out as well. So you might see some super late night changes. So always be on the lookout.
Always be on the lookout. Let's get into it here. Quarterback position. I do the quarterback coach, talk about it every week, do the quarterback coach, and we kind of look down the list and we see, on this slate, where is their value, where is their top tier plays. But this slate, probably more than any slate we've had so far this season, weather is going to be a problem for a lot of games, a lot of teams, and some of the top price guys here as well. Josh Allen and Justin Fields are in a game that there probably won't be any throwing being done, or very minimal throwing being done, that we have to kind of pay attention to here. So Mahomes,
we'll see, because the wind. What I'm hearing about Chicago is, it's going to be brutal cold, but there's not going to be any precipitation, and the winds for the majority of the point are supposed to be like 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts up to 30 to 35 during the course of the game. So I think it tilts up the short passing game a little bit more. I think we're going to see a lot of Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs, and just get a short pass out to him, give him throw a pass 8 yards, and let him run for 15.
Yeah, I guess like when you're paying up $8,500 for Josh Allen, though, you do want that big play potential. I don't know if you're gonna. I worry paying $8,500 for him if he's only going to do quick outs. He really has to be efficient with it. They have to be able to score touchdowns, throwing the football for him to pay it off. So, and if that weather ends up being worse than we're expecting, and we get that game like we had in against New England last year, where New England threw 3 times and Buffalo threw like 20 times, it's going to be tough to pay off the Allen and the Fields price tags there.
All right, Allen's gonna rush for 130 yards.
He could, and Fields could do the same. So there's just the fact that you're taking away potentially a big aspect of the offense there for Buffalo worries me a bit. So if you want to be different, sure. I don't think anybody's gonna be playing that game. Just like nobody's gonna be playing the game in Cleveland for the quarterbacks, because Cleveland New Orleans is a game where the weather's apparently so bad that New Orleans isn't even like sending team reporters. There's like nobody from New Orleans to be able to like come cover this game. I saw somebody tweet out today. So like you're looking at Watson in that group there. Allen Field dealing with some tough weather. You have Mahomes at home. It's supposed to be like 0 degrees, but there's no wind, there's no precipitation in that game. So you have Mahomes at home against Seattle and a high game total. I think a lot of people will be keying in on Mahomes here, and then we're going down to like the mid-tier and a couple of value guys for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for me, I look at it and I say, all right, yes. So you like Mahomes more than you like Allen, is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm fine with naked Mahomes too. Like you don't even have to pair him up with Kelce. I mean,
You
we're
should.
gonna.
If I was picking one, I'd play Kelce over Mahomes.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're what?
If you had to pick one to play naked this week.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think both work naked, and I think they work in a stack. It's just a little bit of a salary crunch there.
Agreed.
So I'm fine with that. Both of them are in the playbook. I like them both. I think they're both perfectly fine. From there, I was kind of looking at that Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins range, and I like Cousins because I think that's a game that's going to end up becoming a little bit more of a shootout as well. And then obviously, it always scares me to have anybody go up against Belichick, especially after a game like what we saw. It's not even about the stupidity of the lateral in the end of that game. It's more about the fact, like, when was the last time you saw a Patriots team so undisciplined under Belichick that I kind of feel like this entire week was like boot camp for them.
Yeah.
And they're gonna respond. I think that, like, I think you can use, the receivers in certain ways, but I do worry about Burrow just in the sense that I think that, Belichick is going to scheme against him and Chase, and kind of scheme against Mixon a little bit. So I worry about that. I tilt down to Cousins over Burrow, actually.
Yeah,
and then I like Geno Smith.
Yeah, listen, a lot of people are putting that Patriots loss on Belichick because, like, oh, Belichick could have his team on. Belichick could never have coached the scenario that came up in that game. Like, why in the world Rondre Stevenson decided to lateral it? And then at that point, Jacoby Myers just lost sense of everything because he's like, wait a minute, why did they just get lateraled to me? Like, what's going on? And then, like, he just panicked and did the same thing. Belichick had to be just as dumbfounded as anybody else in that situation there as well. But what do we talk about? What did we say on the same podcast last week? The Patriots just somehow find a way to score defensive touchdowns. Had another defensive touchdown last week against Derek Carr. Joe Burrow he throws interceptions. He's not immune to throwing interceptions, and he gets sacked a lot. Patriots have a really good pass rush. Josh Uche is among the league leaders in sacks this year out of nowhere. They still have what's his face there. Now I'm blanking on the other defensive end that they have.
Judon,
yeah, they still have Judon on the other side. So, like, I agree with you. Burrow on the road. It's supposed to be cold in New England again. I know that he plays in Cincy. It's not like he's not accustomed to playing in cold weather, but I'm with you. I like Cousins in this spot too because he's just got a lot of great talent. To kind of throw the football here against the Giants, and then I'm going down to, like, Daniel Jones and Geno Smith, like under 6K. Those two guys, I think you'll find a lot of interest in this week.
I'm very much into Daniel Jones. Be able to use him even as a cash game quarterback because of his rushing upside. But yeah, I think that's kind of where you're hanging out to get that value. Both of them, both Geno Smith and Daniel Jones, are at a fantastic value for what their matchup is. And then, because then when you start scrolling further down, like, there is not a single name that I want to use until we get to Gardner Minshew at 4,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree.
For a GPP, 4,800, dude. That's like less than a tight end.
Yes, I argued this a little bit with Fency yesterday on the Better Sports Show. The playbook that they have 5 to 7 there about the merits of using Gardner Minshew, and it came off of a tweet that I got a little annoyed with. People like to just, because A happened, B has to happen sort of thing. So somebody tweeted out, hey, last year in a spot start against, in week whatever, this is what Gardner Minshew did. It was 300 yards. I'm like, that was against the New York Jets. This is up against the Dallas Cowboys. Like, this is a completely different scenario. This isn't a 1-to-1 like he did it then. Look what you can expect this week. Not even close. That being said, the team he has him this year is way better than the Eagles team that they had around him last year. Having A.J. Brown, having Devonta Smith in year 2. They got Dallas Goedert back. Their running game good. Their offensive line is good. So I do think
Dallas's Dallas's secondary is a mess right now.
Right. Right. And not only are they messed, even when they're healthy, they're still prone to giving up big plays. So, like, their Dallas is great because they get after the quarterback. When they get after the quarterback makes mistakes. But there's a good offensive line here for Philly. So if they can hold off and protect Gardner Minshew a little bit, I do believe that Gardner Minshew is capable of making throws. We've seen him do it every time he's been given an opportunity to step in and be this type of player. You know, he's maybe like slightly better than Nick Foles, right? Like, he's not going to go out there and be a consistently top tier quarterback, but he'll give you games where he goes out there and is a good quarterback. Right. You know, so I do think Gardner Minshew is worthy of some consideration this week because the price, because you can fit him into a lot of lineups with other guys that are around there. You know, I just. You know, people have to stop being like, look what he did last year in a spot start. Go watch the highlights of that game. The Jets didn't know Dallas Goedert was on the field. They just like let him run wide open all day.
All right, come on now, be nice.
I'm just saying he was wide open. So yes, Goff,
we're recording on Friday, okay, and we are recording post Jets losing to the Jaguars 19-3.
True.
In what could very well have been the worst game of the season. Now, and listen, and I've watched every Broncos game. Yeah. Last night could have been the worst game of the season. So tread lightly when you make fun of my Jets, Johnny.
What's worse, butt fumble or the kick fumble?
Oh, come on.
Probably still the butt.
Ramondre Stevenson turning around and lateraling it in a tie game. That's what's worse.
No, see, that play actually wasn't even the worst. It was Jacoby Myers who made the worst play. I understand what Ramondre Stevenson may have considered, like, oh, I'm about to get tackled. There's a lot of open field right behind me. If I make the right lateral, maybe Jacoby Myers breaks one. It's stupid.
Oh, come on.
It's stupid, but that wasn't the play that turned the game over. The play that turned the game over was then Jacoby Myers deciding to throw it across the field to Mac Jones. Not even like another skill position. What was Mac Jones going to do with that football when he caught the football? He's slow as dirt. He wasn't going to move. He was going to get sacked.
Was he behind the line of scrimmage? He was
behind the line of scrimmage. Throw it forward.
So he could throw it forward.
No, you can't throw it forward.
Oh, you can't?
No.
You can't throw it again? Oh, no. Yeah, because it already crossed the line of scrimmage already.
Yeah, this isn't ultimate frisbee. You know? Like, you know? Like, no, once it's forward, man. There's no...
Well, Ramondre Stevenson is at fault.
Yes, fine. Because he started the chain of events, sure, but Jacoby Myers made the worst play on that whole play. All right, let's go to running backs. I think we touched on all the quarterbacks here.
Please.
Give me your projected rostership percentage on Derrick Henry. At home against Houston, the last 4 games, you've obviously seen it. He's gone for at least 210 yards and 2 touchdowns against Houston as an average over the last 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're 30-40%. Probably.
You think it's that low?
I mean, he's pricey at 8,600.
Yeah.
Okay. You're also dealing with the fact that Tennessee right now, they lost both their guards. They lost their guards, their centers.
Yeah.
So Ben Jones went on IR. Jamarco Jones landed on IR. Nate Davis is out. I mean, if you look at the offensive line for Tennessee right now, you got Dennis Daly at left tackle.
Yeah.
Aaron Brewer at left guard. He's questionable to even play. He's also supposed to be their backup center. So if he doesn't play, then they're going to have to go to like a 4th string center with like Corey Levin or Dan Munyer. And I mean, if Nate Davis is already out, so Jordan Ruse is the right. I mean, this is terrible. Like, this offensive line is atrocious. I'm all for using Derrick Henry in a GPP tournament. I am so in on that. But not having an offensive line when Malik Willis is the quarterback and Lovie Smith is the one who's scheming against Derrick Henry. Would it be out of the realm of possibility, John, like we saw in Cincy and in the Philly game, where Derrick Henry was held to under 40 yards?
I think so, because those are 2 better defenses than what they're running up against here. So, he still ran for 100 yards last week against the Chargers. Willis was quarterbacking for a little bit there. They still had some injured offensive linemen in that game. He ran for 121 against Jacksonville. I don't think you can. If anything, I would almost say you fade him in GPPs, but I think you have to play him in cash games.
Really?
I think the ownership's going to be too high.
We'll have to wait and see. Where are we at right now with the ownership? We want to look at DraftKings or FanDuel. Let's look at FanDuel because it's whatchamacallit, because it's half point PPR at least. We don't have the PPR jerk offs being like, Derrick Henry doesn't catch passes, even though he's caught like 4 or 5 passes a game. All right, so they've got Henry at 22.4% right now. That was as of this morning at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So 22.4% there. That's for large field GPP tournaments. I still think it's going to end up at 40%.
Yeah. Because
it's Derrick Henry and what he's done to them. I don't know, man. I definitely I worry. I would probably use him on DraftKings than I would on FanDuel. He's 9,800 on FanDuel.
Yeah, super expensive. It's hard to get there, but if he goes for 40 fantasy points again, you're struggling, right? You're behind.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
If this is a spot, if you're making one tournament lineup and you're okay with taking the risk, you fade him. If you're making multiple tournament lineups, you fade him in one. If you're playing cash games, I think you just bite the bullet and you play Derrick Henry.
Well, I mean, I'm going to build some example lineups for the slate. I mean, I'll do one with and one without because I feel like this is a situation where we might be able to fade him. I really do. I know you hate doing that. You hate fading a guy like Derrick Henry.
Haven't you learned from fading Derrick Henry yet?
I did it once, and that was
when I was
doing a live final with Al Williams. I faded him earlier this season, and it worked out just fine.
Yeah. This is just this is like that can't miss spot though, right? Where it's like, of course. I mean, for weeks.
Why is it can't miss?
Because it's just the matchup. Running backs outside of James Robinson, right? Every running back has torched Houston for the most part.
No, that's not true.
Maybe that's not true.
We had another one like that. We were talking about it because we had marked it, as far as everything went.
David Montgomery because he got hurt, but Khalil Herbert ran for 160 yards.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that. Let me go to their team here and see. Houston. All right. So last week they got beaten up by Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah.
The week before that it was Pollard and Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
The week before that it was Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb didn't do shit.
Right.
Because Stefanski didn't run him properly.
Right. It wasn't that he didn't run well. It's that they just didn't give him the volume. Right.
Right. Exactly. Against the Dolphins, did we get huge games from Jeff Wilson and or Raheem Mostert?
Was that the Wilson injury game? Possibly.
I've got Wilson with 39 yards, Myles Gaskin at 17. Mostert didn't even play that game. Yeah. So Miami won that one without doing.
Oh, that was the game that they were up by 50 points the whole game, right? Defensive. There wasn't an offensive touchdown scored in that game, right until the fourth quarter, or something like that.
Washington, Gibson went for 72. Brian Robinson for 57. I'm just trying to figure out somebody who has lit them up besides Derrick Henry.
Jacobs.
219 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Jacobs tore him apart the week before that.
Jacobs tore him apart before that, and then before that was the James Robinson debacle.
Mm-hmm. Which I still think, didn't ETN have a good game? Just Robinson didn't.
I think ETN was 71 yards on 10 carries. I mean, it's a great matchup. It definitely is. I'm not saying that it's not a great matchup. I just think, we have these conversations about good chalk and bad chalk, and the question is, if Lovie Smith knows that it's Malik Willis, mm-hmm. Why wouldn't he just stack the box and directly scheme against stopping Derrick Henry, and then just let everybody else, let the coverage guys stay in single coverage. Go ahead, you beat me through the fucking air because I'm going to do everything I can to stop Derrick Henry in this matchup. And you don't have an offensive line.
But don't you think they did everything they could to stop Derrick Henry last time? Like, what team goes into Heat facing Tennessee and is like, we're gonna play, a 3-4 and stop, Robert Woods. No, the game plan against Tennessee is always to stop Derrick Henry.
Right. And the Chargers couldn't, the Jags couldn't, the Eagles did, the Bengals did.
Yeah, better defenses.
The Packers held them to 87 yards on 28 carries. Mm-hmm. Denver held them to 53 yards on 19 carries. Mm-hmm. And then the 5 games before that, he beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
Colts, Washington, Colts twice, again.
Yeah. Speaking of Washington, let's quick pivot there. If you're not playing Henry then, CMC at home against the Commanders here. He is actually more expensive than Derrick Henry on DraftKings. He obviously has the added, catch ability. Brock Purdy, the quarterback in this spot here. We didn't mention Purdy at all at the quarterback situation. The quarterback
Which is
position.
Fine. Which is fine. There's enough value around him to not have to worry about him and his oblique and no Deebo Samuel.
I agree. So thoughts on McCaffrey then? Is that your pivot from Henry?
Listen, I dig McCaffrey very, very much. I think he's in a really nice spot here against Washington. Although Washington's they've got a good defense. They do well against running back pass plays. Their front seven is strong. It's their secondary that's really, where the problem is. I gotta be honest with you, man. I'll happily pay down to Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
And be fine with that because the Giants are atrocious against the run. Like atrocious. So Dalvin Cook, no weather, home game, kind of dig that.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be in on that game as well because it is a game that's fading all the weather. People are going to look at Minnesota and New York and they're like, we don't have to worry about cold. We don't have to worry about wind, rain, snow. Like it's a close spread. It's a high total. Let's play the game that's inside. And you're going to see a lot of people going with this Cousins, Jefferson, Thielen, Hawkins, the whole trio. We're not at wide receiver yet, but Darius Slayton's $5,200. He's like one of my favorite players in the entire board. I've
already got a lineup built, John, with Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton, but I've got Dalvin Cook coming back instead of Jefferson. Sure. I mean, I could game stack this.
Yeah,
you could totally easily game stack this one if you want to.
Yep.
I think it's a perfectly viable situation for it. But I mean, listen, if Dalvin Cook gets his usual complement of carries, I mean, I just don't see the Giants stopping him at all.
Okay. Let's go down to the mid-tier range here then. Are we chasing Jerick McKinnon points here? And when I say chasing, it's been 2 weeks in a row now. So is this just what Jerick McKinnon is? Or, is it Seattle? The last 2 games, I felt like Kansas City should have been in a better position to kind of blow those teams out. And the games somehow were rather competitive there at points. Seattle is a 10-point road dog here, but if they keep this a competitive game, because their offense can do something against Kansas City's defense here, is McKinnon in line for another just big, huge workload?
I really dig McKinnon. He's in the playbook. My thought process was, you could conceivably pivot to Isaiah Pacheco if you think that, it's more of a between the tackles sort of a thing. That 10-point spread kind of does make it a little nerve-wracking because Seattle does give up a lot of points to the running backs, but they're terrible against running back pass plays. And I feel like this game actually, I want Seattle, I want the points. I feel, Kansas City has not been blowing teams out at home at all. Mahomes is not, he's not throwing deep. And I think that, one of the things that we've seen is here is that pass catching running back that Andy Reid worships. He loves that play. He's it's not even like a check down. It's like a designed, screen pass to the running back, and they do it so often. So I kind of dig McKinnon at that 5,900, but I can't believe you skipped so many other running backs in between.
Well, I mean, I personally am not a big fan of the other running backs that are in between, but talk to me then. Who are you keying in on between Dalvin Cook and Jerick McKinnon?
It's time for us to use Kamara.
You said that last week.
I know. Listen, you know what? The funny thing is, though, is that, the game script for this game here, there's no passing going on in this game.
No.
There's no passing going on in this game. So the only players who I actually have interest in this game are Kamara, Taysom Hill, and that's it. I don't even have the whole, like, I'm not so into Nick Chubb because of the foot issue, and that could be a problem, and they'll probably get Kareem Hunt in there. But on the side, like, I mean, if you're facing Cleveland and they are a run funnel defense, I mean, Kamara and Taysom Hill kind of intrigue me.
But when you talk about selling out to stop Derrick Henry, like, the wind is the 13th defender or whatever it is in this game.
True.
Right? So there is zero reason to defend the pass in this matchup, outside of 5. Like, you talked about, like, wind gusts of 30. We're having sustained winds of 30 miles an hour in this game.
Well, that's why I want Taysom Hill in there also, because I genuinely believe that they will try and do, like, all sorts of, like, misdirection stuff and hand it from Kamara to Taysom Hill, from Dalton to Kamara, from Dalton to Hill. Like, I feel like that's what the Saints are going to end up doing. It's like the ideal Taysom Hill game, unfortunately.
No, it's a 32 game total as well. Like, this is the grossest game football has ever put on the board, right? So, and that's notwithstanding what we just watched your Jets do on Thursday. So, like, there could be fewer points scored.
You got to go back to that
in this game here. So, listen, I get why you'd want Kamara. I don't trust the Saints to use Kamara the way we want him to. Like,
I agree.
David Johnson got stupid carries last week, right? And fumbled, right? So, like, so I don't know. Listen, I get it. I understand all of it, but I worry that the fact that this game is going to be so pure running that, I don't know if Kamara is going to be able to score. Like if he gets 20 carries for 90 yards, like, that's great, but that's not doing us anything. So,
and no interest in Miles Sanders either.
I mean, I think he'll finally at least not have to worry about getting a touchdown poached, right? So if you're in on the Eagles on this game, then I think Sanders is a great option. What I like about Sanders and generally teams that have good pass rushes is that if you run a draw play or a handoff and the defensive ends are all the way up the field already, it's the middle of the field's open for Sanders just to break a big run. So I do think Sanders is interesting at $6,200. I think he could be rather contrarian because he blew everybody last week, right? 11 for 42. He was the chalky running back last week that did nothing for everybody. So
yes, that's true.
You have that into effect, but definitely could be some more touchdown upside. My fear, of course, is that with Philly, like, Boston Scott got a rushing touchdown last week or 2 weeks ago, right? Like, Gainwell's still involved. It almost, like, invites them to use their running back trio more with Jalen Hurts off the field, it feels like. So, that also worries me a little bit there.
Okay, I got you. All right, so McKinnon, great.
Dobbins.
In the playbook, fine. What about Dobbins? Back-to-back 120-yard games.
100% in. The snap share still isn't really where we love it, right? He's not, like, dominating over Gus Edwards yet. But he's just, 8 and 9 yards per carry, 44 and 30. When he runs, he doesn't run like he's healthy, but he's still breaking off big plays, right? Like, he still is, like, limping, right? Like, his running has, like, a weird gait to it, but he's still making big plays. They're still going to hand the ball off a ton, so I'm fine. Atlanta, as we know, not a good run defense, so Dobbins is going to get his 15 carries. I'm in. You mentioned Pacheco already. I agree. I'm there. Singletary. Thoughts against Singletary here against Chicago?
I kind of like him. I put him in the playbook.
Yep. Snap share last week was a little bit higher because the game called for him to be on the field there because of the snow at the end. Ended up getting around 60% of the offensive snaps, and a lot of his touches came on those final drives. I had the over 10.5 carries, and I was sweating the entire time because they just weren't using him until it started snowing, and then they started handing him the football. So this is a game where I would hope they go him over Cooks, but Cooks was getting the early down work for a lot, and then they would bring in Singletary in like third down. So but when they had to run the football, they went to Singletary there. Cooks also fumbled in that game, so that could have had something to do with it. So
we all know what happens when you fumble. Isaiah Pacheco didn't see the field for like a full quarter.
Yep.
The
family room was really worried about that.
Family room's always worried.
That's true. The family room is always worried about everything that's going on.
The family room 2 minutes into the games is like, I can't believe my guy didn't score a touchdown yet.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I'm in trouble now.
We were tilting that with them, though. When we were getting poached, guys, like, of course, this guy's the one that scores.
Well, the garbage time touchdowns there, sure. But what I'm talking about is like, like when a receiver is sitting there and he's got like, 3 for 38 yards and he hasn't been targeted recently. And, and it's like, but wait till the end of the game, fourth quarter, and all of a sudden, here it comes.
Yep.
Dude suddenly ends up with like mad targets and mad yards. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. I like to stir the pot a little bit when it's when it's one of those like touchdowns that just doesn't help anybody.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the random tight ends scored a touchdown last week. I was like, oh, of course, everybody played that guy, right? Nobody did. Weird how that happens.
Yeah.
Or CJ Ham, right? CJ Ham got a touchdown. Like, oh, we all played CJ Ham, didn't we?
I said that. I was like, good job. We got CJ Ham in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I think I tweeted, when I think gotta have it yards, I think CJ Ham, not Dalvin Cook or Justin Jefferson. All right, guys, under 5K. Thoughts on like Gus Edwards? Kareem Hunt for game script. James Cook, because again he was getting some involvement in this game at all. Any interest in these guys here?
I mean, I feel like you can throw like a GPP dart maybe at one of these guys, but I actually really don't like the value at running back this week.
Okay.
I mean, there's nobody down there that like really kind of moves the needle for me in any sort of a way. Like, I mean, I like Gus Edwards, and I think that he's always capable of poaching a touchdown or two. And Kareem Hunt, same thing. But like, I mean, how deep are we going into our GPP lives? I'd rather go Chuba Hubbard against Detroit at 4,900 than to even go with like Kareem Hunt or Gus Edwards.
Yeah, tough spot to run against Detroit these last few weeks. That was touted out there last week, and then the Jets, really didn't get much going against them. We can't consider these Detroit running backs anymore because it's a 3-headed monster again. So Jamal Williams had a touchdown, but I got called back on him last week. Swift again led the team in fantasy points at the running back position, but 8 for 52. He had 9 targets. All that's great, but it's impossible to trust those guys. All right, let's go to the wide receiver position.
Let's.
Top guys. Jefferson's there at 93. You've mentioned already.
He's all right.
You can play him if you want. Expensive though. Diggs.
Yeah,
you kind of like him.
I like him, but you don't like him.
I'm not
a
big
him
fan.
For GPP.
Yeah, not a big fan. Jamar Chase. Marcus Jones shut down Devontae Adams last week. That's a Belichick scheme play, in my opinion. I would assume they schemed to shut down Jamar Chase in this game because Jones is very fast, right? Like, you're not going to be able to like run away from Marcus Jones. He's very short, but the guy is an absolute burner. So, Chase is not going to be able to run away from Marcus Jones in this matchup, but he's going to have a lot of size. So I imagine they just put a guy over the top, and if Burrow wants to take some shots down there, they can. But they held Devontae Adams down last week.
Yeah, Jamar Chase. I have him in the playbook. He's a GPP play only for me because obviously, listen, that Belichick's going to scheme against him, but it's still Jamar Chase, and he is, an explosive player. So, for a GPP upside, I'll take a look at that. But I'm definitely much more into using T. Higgins than I am Jamar Chase because of that matchup. Listen, Jefferson, I'll use cash or GPP. I don't care. This week, Diggs, Chase, even AJ Brown. I'm kind of looking at them as more GPP plays than cash plays. Because there is a certain amount of uncertainty there. AJ Brown obviously being on the lower end, but because it's Gardner Minshew, and he'll probably see a lot of Trayvon Diggs. They move him all over the field, so I don't think he'll be held in check. But like until we get down to, and it's kind of funny, man, until we get down to like DK Metcalf. I like Amon-Ra. Yeah. I think he's a good solid. He's a good high floor cash game guy.
Yep. 100%.
Good solid cash game floor guy. CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's going to see a bunch of Darius Slay, isn't he?
Probably. I don't like this matchup for Dallas. Someone I tweeted out recently too that Dak has been turning the ball over a lot. Also, so just kind of a tough matchup for him there. So I'm with you. It's Metcalf. I like both Browns. I don't mind either Brown play there. Amon-Ra definitely, I think, usable in all formats. AJ Brown, more of a GVP play. Metcalf, you talk scheming, like they're going to scheme to stop DK Metcalf, but still, I'm fine because the target share should be there. Kenneth Walker is going to play, but he's not 100%. So, like, I don't see them being in a position to just kind of run the ball with him and control clock. They're going to have to throw a lot there.
And what's up with Goodwin? I know he landed on the injury report with a wrist injury late.
Also expected to play, according to either Rappaport or Schefter. Both are expected to be active for this game.
Okay, all right. So, I'm in on DK Metcalf.
You've been touting the slot receiver versus Dallas play. Is that in play here for Devonta Smith this week?
Is Devonta Smith the slot receiver?
Doesn't he line up there sometimes? I know he's an outside guy too, but
everybody kind of lines up there sometimes.
That's true. I thought I saw him.
Oh, listen, dude. Right. Well, because I'm sitting there. You know me, man. I love my dart throws, so I'm like, ooh. Is it going to be Quez Watkins time?
Is it Quez that's in the slot more often than not? I didn't think Quez's snap share was high enough. So when he's on the field, he may be the guy, but like, who's their inline slot guy?
You want to know what the percentages are, John?
I do. Read them off to me here.
All right. Devonta Smith lines up on the left side at 32% of the time, slot 26%.
Okay.
The right side of the field, 42%. AJ Brown, 42% on the left side, 26 in the slot, and then 32% on the right-hand side. Quez Watkins, 12 on the left, 75 in the slot. 13% of his snaps are taken on the right side of the field.
So what's his general snap share?
That's a hell of a question here. I am going to...
Because it's good to know when he's on the field, he's in the slot, but how often is he on the field?
Dude, you are so feisty today.
It's not feisty. I want all the information in front of me here, Howard.
It's all the holiday shopping's probably gotten you down, doesn't it, man? Didn't you endure the stores yesterday?
People's parking etiquette is what is getting me infuriated. Okay, you look up I'll go on a small tangent here. I don't know about you, but when I leave a store and I get in my car, I get out of the parking space. It's a busy parking lot. People are going up and down the aisles looking for parking spaces. I am cognizant of that because I just had to go through that while I am waiting for a parking spot, right? So when I get in my car, I know other people are looking for spots. I get the hell out of there. I'm driving around. Someone gets in their car. I'm like, great, perfect. Finally found a person after stalking them basically out of the store to get in their car. I stop. I put my blinker on. This shouldn't have been more than a 2-minute thing. Turn your car on. Maybe put a bag down. Put a seatbelt on. Back the F up. Get out of... For what felt like an eternity, but was probably no more than like 5 minutes, this person did who knows what on their phone, right? They turned their car on, the reverse lights like come on, and yet they just sat there. And I'm like, what are we doing? There's cars behind me because it's a small parking lot. These people are now starting to go around me. I'm waiting for this person to get out of their spot. Like, can we back it up? Can we get out of the spot? You know that I'm waiting. You know it's a busy park. There's nothing that you should be doing in your car at that point that is taking you that long. Get out of the spot. Pull over somewhere else. Don't just sit there and waste people's time. So, parking etiquette is just an absolute travesty in this world here.
At a shopping mall, at a strip mall?
It's like a strip mall. Yeah, strip mall thing. But it's like an outlet-y strip mall. So, like, there's a whole bunch of stores, like a whole,
Well, when we tweet this out, usually we highlight fights of ours, but now I want strip mall parking concerns as the come for the DFS advice, stay for the parking conversation.
Stay for the parking etiquette conversation. Get the hell in your car and get out.
Oh shit!
Stop sitting there and checking all your emails, or who the hell knows what you're doing. Move out of the parking space. Valuable real estate you're in right now, and you're not staying. You're going. It's almost as bad as the people that walk out to their car with their bags, put their bags back, and walk back into the store. That is also doubly infuriating. Finish your shopping, go to your car. You don't go to your car in between stores. Wasting my time, wasting everybody's time. So, anyways.
Oh shit, that's the best thing I've heard all day.
Do we have Quez Watkins snap share or what?
66% last week.
All right, good. I'm in then.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Cool.
Like that a lot.
Cool.
All right.
We'll dartboard him there because I didn't put him into the playbook itself.
Okay, like that a lot then.
All right.
Going down. Under 6K guys, DJ Moore. I know you're not a Sam Darnold guy. I know I made a lineup to you and I sent it to you, and you said nothing that has Sam Darnold in it is ever quote unquote it or something like that, or you'll never thank me for anything that includes Sam Darnold in it. But you can throw against Detroit's defense. Zach Wilson managed to throw over 300 yards against them, and look what the hell he did last night. So, is there ever a time for Sam Darnold to come through and look like the Sam Darnold we got for 3 weeks last season? This could be it. DJ Moore coming off of a couple good games in between that Seattle disaster, but 4 for 103 to score against Denver, 5 for 73 to score against Pittsburgh, at $5,500 against Detroit. I get that Jeff Okudah could be the guy that's defending him. I understand there's not many pass catching options available in Carolina, but you know what? I'm okay with it.
He's in the playbook.
Yeah, deserves to be.
I won't touch Darnold because I just don't know what to expect there. But Darnold can throw for 162 yards with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, and DJ Moore can still have himself a great game.
Yeah, that's true. He could.
So I'm fine with that, and I agree with you. I think he might have Okudah climbing up and down on him, but it's still a really good spot. Like, I don't think Okudah is just going to shadow DJ Moore. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I like the Moore play as well. And then from there we can go down. Darius Slayton, obviously.
I like Thielen too. Not to just hop over him there. Touchdowns in 3 or 4 games.
Oh,
yeah. Touchdowns in 3 or 4.
Can we just game stack this game? Can we get nothing but Giants? And
I think we're gonna get there because you can play Daniel Bellinger according to Coop this week. So, if you wanted to get dirty at tight end, Daniel Bellinger's down there coming off of a 0 fantasy point performance last week, but he thinks that there's some viability to Daniel Bellinger this week.
So we would probably have to use Slayton and Hodgins.
Yeah.
Right, which I'm totally fine with there.
You go Hodgins over Richie James?
Yeah, I think I do actually.
Okay.
Let me see snap share here as well on those. I mean, I think they're probably right about even. I think.
Yeah, it's just a $200 difference on DraftKings. So sometimes you need that extra
Hodgins 89% of the snaps. Richie James 79%.
Okay.
Darius Slayton 94%.
Cool.
What'd you say, Bellinger?
Yeah. Coop. Well, I don't say it. I'm just repeating Coop. So he also has continually told us to play Noah Gray for like weeks.
Noah Gray's his big call. Oh shit! Look at this lineup here. Ready? Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Slayton, Hodgins. Then you double tight end it with Bellinger and Hawkinson, and you get the Texans defense against Malik Willis and Tennessee.
You're only Houston Texans defense. That could be a thing.
Well, I mean, where else are you gonna go? I mean, if you want to go cheap for defense, it's them, it's Washington, it's the Cowboys. I can't afford the Patriots. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Cowboys probably be where I'd go. But.
What if I did the Eagles?
$2,200, not bad.
Eagles for $2,200, and then wait, that would let me get. Would that let me get Thielen over Hawkinson's there? Where's Thielen? Oh, he's $5,300. I need $100 more to get to Thielen.
Playing Hodgins or James?
Hodgins.
Play James. There's your $200.
James. Richie James. And then go Thielen instead of Hawkinson. Look at that lineup. Jones, Barkley, Cook, Jefferson, Slayton, Richie James, Dan Bellinger, Adam Thielen, and the Eagles D.
There you go. Lock it up. Sign it in.
I did.
Stamp it.
I just hit enter.
There you go.
Let me put this lineup into the biggest donkey contest I can possibly find.
The Millie Maker? Listen, it was the full game stack of Detroit, Seattle that won the Millie Maker in week 4 or whatever it was. So
that is 100% correct.
And I mean like full game stack. I don't think they had I think they used Josh Jacobs as their one-off against Houston. I think that was the winner that week. So anyways, go back to wide receivers here. So we talked about Thielen, Slayton, Moore. We like it.
Yep.
Drake London. He had 70 of the 97 passing yards by Ritter here. Are we buying into this spot here for London against Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, if unless they put Kyle Hamilton on him, I'm okay with it. I mean, I think he's a decent pay down. He gets the targets.
He's the only one targeted.
I don't love Desmond Ritter, obviously.
140 yards and a half passing total for Ritter this week for a prop. Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Let's move on.
Chasing KJ Osborne. Speaking of Giants, Minnesota.
KJ Osborne.
Giants, Minnesota stack.
We could. You
could go Osborne over Thielen and get a better defense.
Oh, yeah. Definitely could. All right. Just, you know what? Something to explore.
Goodwin's at 43. We're in there.
Goodwin's in at 43. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a dart throw at MVS again.
Okay.
I mean, listen, the dude, he's like 4 for 40, and sometimes he gets into the end zone.
Sure.
That's really, I mean, it's as good a dart at 4,300 as anything else, but I like paying down even more. I'll tell you what, like, we've talked about the Giants, so we don't need to talk Hodgins here again, but DeMarcus Robinson at $4,000.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. It's Huntley.
No Duvernay anymore.
No Duvernay. Deshaun Jackson. Like, you've got DeMarcus Robinson, and then you've got Deshaun Jackson, Sammy Watkins, and then James Prochet.
Yep.
So, like, Robinson's been seeing, on average, I think he's seeing, like, 6 targets a game.
Yep. 9, 4, 8, 6, 6. Yep. I like it. I played his receiving prop last week because it was at 3. And I was like, why are we... Like, he's gone over that. Like, he's getting a whole bunch of targets. Like, I'm going to play the over, and he had 6. I don't know what his receiving prop is for this week, but if his receptions prop is like 3.5, I'm going to take the over. So, I agree. 4K for him is good. We talked Richie James. That's fine. I like Chark at 42. I think that's in play.
I don't mind Dotson as just like a potential dart throw. He gets the deep passes.
Yeah, tough spot obviously, but doable for sure because he's had a nose for the end zone all season long. So
right, and they're going to be paying more attention to Terry McLaurin, and you're also going to deal with their biggest weakness is actually out of the slot. So I feel like Curtis Samuel is a guy who they might be paying a little bit more attention to, which could free up Dotson just into. If you can get Dotson into just single man coverage, he'll beat them regularly. He will. It doesn't. I don't even care who the cornerback is. Dotson's just got that much speed.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to see here. So Chris Moore is
no.
Chris Moore is not. Looks like he's not going to play, or he's questionable to play. If he's out, where is he? Would you play Brandon Cooks? Brandon Cooks is expected to return to the lineup this week. If Chris Moore is out, or even if, would you just play Brandon Cooks? Would you have any interest in Brandon Cooks at 4,900?
I don't really have a lot of interest in Brandon Cooks. Okay.
Just the fact that he's active.
I mean, I get what you're saying. There's nobody else to throw to.
And he's actually good.
Yeah. I got Jordan Akins in the playbook, okay. So that's my lone Texan.
Okay. You mentioned Quez at 36. I don't think there's anything else down here though.
No Jameson Williams. You're not in on the maybe he gets 1 for 40. How about Jawan Jennings?
I don't know. I don't want to invest too much in Purdy. So
okay, you know what? That's fair. Yep. That's valid.
That's where I'm at. So Jameson Williams. I mean, I feel like they're just capping him at 20% of the snaps. So
yeah.
With as long as Chark is healthy, I don't think you're gonna get much more of an increase from Williams here. Though, if they keep on winning football games, it would probably be beneficial to them to get him a bit more involved. But we'll see. Tight end. Kelce's at 8.
What about what? No love for you don't have the fever for the flavor of a Pringle?
No. We're not throwing in that game.
I do.
We're not throwing in that game.
They're not throwing often in that game, but they are going to have to throw. No, neither one of those teams is just going to run the ball.
if any team is more suited to just run the football, it's a team that just got Khalil Herbert back with David Montgomery and Justin Fields.
Absolutely, I do agree with that. But what I'm saying to you is that I don't think I think you'd be surprised as to how much throwing goes on. I mean, listen, look at all the people you were in our Discord. How many people told you that they were going to sit Jalen Waddle and or Tyreek Hill because of all the snow in Buffalo? Well, and then we had to sit there. Like the morning of the game and like slap people upside the head and be like, look at the field. The field is clean. There's no precipitation coming down at all. There's nothing.
So that was people wanted to sit him because the weather information of the day was that the snow that came later in the game was supposed to be there earlier in the game, but it wasn't. So that's where you had to readjust your idea. If we wake up tomorrow and they're like, hey, the wind is actually 5 to 10 miles an hour, then that's fine. But if the wind is going to be the 20 to 30, then they're a team that doesn't have to. I'm trying to see what we got a Fields pass prop. They didn't even give it to us. They gave Josh Allen at 30.5, but I don't got anything on Fields for a pass attempts prop there. I wanted to see if we could judge it.
I'm just putting that out there that I wouldn't completely ignore, especially if you're looking for a free pay down. Now, I would probably go with, if I'm not using Demarcus Robinson or Mark Andrews in my lineup, I would look at Prochet as the pay down there at $3,000.
Sure.
But I mean, Pringle as the lead receiver. I mean, even if he gets 4 catches, if one of them hits into the end zone, that pays.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool haven't been getting 4 catches even when everybody was healthy all year. I don't know where Pringle's all of a sudden breaking out and being the guy. So I get it. I see what you're saying. Dart throw for sure. It just feels like a bad environment, a low foot. It could be a 0. He could get you a 0. It's not out of the realm of possibility with them. Tight ends. Kelce at 8K. We know you can play him. You lock him in. I think he'll be pretty popular. It's one of the best matchups on the board. Plus, he just went for 23 fantasy points last week. I don't want to play for Andrews. Are you paying for Andrews here anymore? I mean,
I don't mind him at 5,500.
He's just not scoring.
He's not. No, he's definitely not scoring. But he's also been hurt, and so's Huntley.
Yeah.
And now again, you're losing Duvernay. The top 2 targets are Andrews and Demarcus Robinson. I mean, listen, I think it's a fine play to make. You don't have to lock it down, but I definitely don't hate it.
Yeah, I wish. That's not right. I wish that they would just rule out Noah Fant, but Carroll said it looks like he's going to play. I would have liked to just play Disley without Fant being active.
Disley yeah. Give me all the Will Disley.
I would have played it if Fant was out. I might have some mild interest in Fant if he's going to be active there. Just the matchup against Kansas City feels pretty decent there. What did Austin Hooper do against Kansas City? Just 2 for 3.
What did Austin Hooper do?
Just 2 for 3. Chig, I think, only had the 1 catch against Kansas City, but it was that big catch, right? Yeah, 1 for 48. Malik Willis did throw a little bit better last week, but hard to consistently trust that there. Tight end kind of sucks. So
it does. Would you use Goddard? Would you use Hawkinson?
Yes, definitely would. I'd use Hawkinson. I'd use Kittle, even though it's not a good spot for tight ends. Just no Samuel, I think, helps him out there. But I don't like Njoku or Komet. Dalton Schultz is okay. Just tough. Just bad. Just not good. It's just not a good position. I'd almost rather just pay for Disley anyways, and just or Noah Gray, to Coop's point, 3 catches in each of the last 2 games for Noah Gray, 45 and 31 yards. It's 7 points and 6 points for a $2,600 tight end, and if he gets you that rushing touchdown or whatever that he gets once this year, we talk a lot about Kansas City being Seattle being a great matchup for tight end, so You know, Coop's been shouting Noah Gray's name out there for.
He sent it to me the other day. I promised him I would put it in the dartboard. I'm fine with that. I think it's a solid. I mean, if you're looking at it from the sense of that it's a dart throw. You're not looking at it as this is going to, this is going to absolutely smash.
Correct.
You can't look at it in that sense.
No,
but
I agree with you. But tight end is really bad. So this is why the lineup that I've sent you, I've just paid up for Kelce. Because I just, why try to pick which tight end to do something this week? There's enough value on the board where I'm just going to play Kelce, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna lock down Kelce. Again, I think that it's I mean, listen, all right. Kelce, yes. Andrews, you don't like, but I do. Kittle, I don't think either one of us are really on him because of Purdy. Hawkinson, if you're doing a Minnesota stack, I mean, you could play him naked if you wanted to. I don't think it's a terrible play.
All right.
But yeah, Komet, not interested. Njoku, not interested. Schultz, maybe. Knox, nah. I'm not touching Okonkwo anymore because of Malik Willis. Bellinger's fine. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Listen, Jordan Akins, I think, is a perfectly fine, super pay down type of guy. But it's GPP only. I can't look at it. Listen, I think, Coop's throwing Noah Gray out there. I was like, well, what about Tommy Tremble? Detroit's terrible against the tight end position. Yeah. And, Ian Thomas is more of a blocker. So, I agree with you. I think if you're gonna do tight end, you just fucking pay up.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Pay up. I mean, I can get cute and play around with a couple of different things, which I've done in this lineup, but I agree with paying up at tight end.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, defenses here. We've talked about a couple of them. You can spend up at the top ones if you want. I think either Eagles or Cowboys are in play if you want to just pick which side of the one that's there. I think you can always go for New England. I don't even think anybody's going to play New England, but they just always find a way. They still get after the quarterback. They still get turnovers, and they score touchdowns. So, and they're home. So,
I think you can go. Did you say Cleveland?
No, I didn't mention anyone in that game, but I agree with
I
you.
feel like you could go either defense there. I think that, it says, it'll be low scoring and, enough, and maybe you get some sloppy fumbles there. You won't get any interceptions. You won't get a pick six, but maybe there's a little bit of sloppiness there. The Saints turn, they I think they're second in the league in giveaways.
Okay.
Terrible.
That's not good.
Terrible.
Anybody else for you?
I mean, you could hit the Titans. I told you, I don't mind the Texans.
Sure.
If the Texans stop Derrick Henry for $2,500 for almost a min-price defense, if they can stop Derrick Henry, I don't see Malik Willis putting up a bunch of shit on them.
Okay.
So I don't hate that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that either. So I got my line. The
Patriots at 27. The Patriots at 27 is probably one of my favorite pay downs.
I no arguments here. I got my lineup built.
Oh, the Ravens defense. Did we talk Ravens defense?
We didn't talk. So my problem with the Ravens defense is defenses score points by getting turnovers and sacks and touchdowns. Is Atlanta going to throw enough for any of that to happen?
Good point. Good point.
Cool if they get 10 fantasy points because they shut them out. But, if they give up a rushing touchdown, is there going to be enough opportunities for them to get those points back? I don't think so.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, Johnny. So I like where your head's at.
That's where I'm a little bit worried. That's where I'm a little bit worried on that. So
it's all good. All right. Yeah, I got a lineup here.
Okay. Shoot it.
I'm still playing around with it because I got some money left over, but we'll just kind of see where we go. Daniel Jones, Dalvin Cook, and Jerick McKinnon.
Okay.
DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Darius Slayton, Dallas Goedert at tight end, Demarcus Robinson as my flex, and the Patriots D.
Okay, that's not bad. I'm trying to go back and forth here. Would you rather Adam Thielen or TJ Hawkinson?
I think I would rather Giants are pretty. I think I would rather Hawkinson.
Okay, that works.
Giants ranked dead last in DVOA against the tight end.
Love it. That works.
Dead last.
All right, so this is my lineup. Then we're rocking similar. Daniel Jones at quarterback. I do have Derrick Henry as my running back. I also have Dalvin Cook as my running back. Ooh. So running double top guys here. Darius Slayton, Marquise Goodwin, Quez Watkins as my 3 wide receivers.
That's a major pay down at wideout.
Travis Kelce at tight end. TJ Hawkinson in the flex in the Eagles defense, but I got $400 left over, which could get me the Cowboys defense. But I'm playing Quez, so I'm gonna stick with the Eagles defense here.
I like it. I like it.
All three. Now my highest wide receiver is Slayton at 52. I got Kelce in there, and I got 2 top running backs. So
that's always it's so funny too, because we go through this on the regular, right? And when we sit there and we put together what the optimal lineup would have been off of the playbook, and you just kind of look at it and you're like, yeah, I don't really understand why I really wasn't on that play or something like that, but I just lost the point that I was actually going to make there.
I'll say the reason we don't get everybody involved, Howard, is because you and I aren't making 150 lineups. A lot of the times,
we are not making 150 lineups.
When I talk to some of our subscribers in Discord, and they're like, "Oh, I should have played this guy. He's in the winning lineup right now." I'm like, "Yeah, but look at that guy and the number next to his name. It says 98. You know why it says 98? It's because he made 150 lineups. So if you make 150 lineups, you probably would have had exposure to this 3% guy that went for the top score, right? Like." You and I, we are not, we kind of champion it out there. Like we play with you guys play. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have the lineup capabilities of making hundreds of lineups. Outside of playing in the nickel, or the 25 cent or the the dollar tourney. Like if I'm gonna spend the money in a thing, that's what I'm playing in. So when I'm making 3 lineups, which is what I do, I play the 50 max. I play the $15 3 max. Like when I'm doing something like that, you got to really nail the exposure that you're in there on, or you're going to sit there and look at lineups. You're like, I liked that guy, but I didn't play him today. But why didn't I play him today? It's because I didn't make 100 lineups. That's the problem of when you.
Well, that's like when we go through all the players and stuff like that. I'm like, we talk about so many guys, but there are just so many that it's like I would never in a million years go with this guy.
Yeah. That's why I like playing the 3 max. I play the 3 max and I get the exposure to the guys I feel like I want in my lineups there. Of course, there's sometimes guys get left out, like that Darnell Mooney day, where I like Darnell Mooney all week. Had him in all 3 lineups and had him up with just 1. So, anyways, Howard, those are our lineups. The playbook is already out. The podcast you're listening to now is out, obviously. The example lineups will be done on Saturday. We have 10 games Saturday. We'll have a 3-game playbook on Sunday as well. So be on the lookout for that. Any parting words for the people at home, Howard?
No, Dartboard will come out later on Friday night as well. So, yeah, we're good to go.
Sounds good, everybody. Good luck in Week 16. We'll catch you guys later.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, exactly.
Happy holidays, everybody. Have a fantastic Christmas and Hanukkah or whatever it is that you celebrate.
Amen. And hopefully you'll maybe win the moneymaker on Christmas Eve.
You know what? My birthday is Monday, so maybe I can do a birthday bink of a GPP.
Love it. That'll be great. We'll all have the wishes there for you, Howard.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you guys later.